Hello, I'm Robert, and you're welcome here in my biz little shop. On today's episode of What's on My Workbench, it's bison, American bison to be exact. I purchased this American bison from Montana Leather back a ways. You may have seen me open it up. It's a full hide of bison. It's like 48 square feet. It's got a nice pebble finish on it. It's 2.5 ounce leather, and it's listed as upholstery leather. And I've purchased some leathers like that in the past that I think make pretty nice handbags. We're going to be making a shoulder bag out of this today. Let's get over here on the workbench and we can talk a little bit about it. I appreciate you being in the shop with me today. So here is my pattern that I created, and I'm going to lay this in here and figure where I can get the best use of my leather. Now, obviously I need to cut it out both ways, once this way and once this way, so that I have two of the finished sides of leather facing out. I find it handy just to use the other piece of leather as the template. One, if you're off a little bit on your cutting, you've corrected it here. But two, I know then I'm not going to make a mistake of not cutting it out the correct way. In other words, having the raw side supposedly out. Here are both of my main body pieces already cut out, just sitting here together. I went ahead and I cut a gusset piece here that is 2 inches wide by 23 inches. And then 1 inch wide, 2 of those by 10 inches long. And I've got double-sided tape on a zipper here of matching color. And then I have the strap pieces. One of them is long. I haven't decided yet the total length, and I'm going to decide on it. I'll make that one last. But what I have here is 5/8 of an inch by 35 inches, and I went ahead and glued that up. It's double-sided here, just using contact adhesive. So there's 2 prepared the same way, which was obviously 4 straps of leather. And then my 2 anchor points. This is the lower anchor point and the upper anchor point. This will be sewn into the top of the bag and stick out this way, and the strap for the shoulder strap will hook around this. I have one more for the adjustment piece on the back, and I decided last minute to add this little clip on the inside. So that'll be my next step. We're going to sew this together. Figure which way I like it better. I don't think it really mattered a whole lot. I guess I'll do it this way. I just went around like 4 times and melt that off there. It's not going to go anywhere. So the next piece to work on is this little strip of leather here, the gusset. And I'll fold this over and sew it on like this. But first I'll sew this. I'm going to start by sewing the zipper in first. To prepare the gusset, I put a little bit of double-sided tape there. I'm going to fold that over. A bit of double-sided tape there. Probably don't have to do that, but instead of managing a couple pieces slipping, I'll just stick this on here. I think I'm going to miss it, but I'm just going to hand feed it here through this spot. I decided on the fly that add this piece here, and I don't know it's going to be needed when I clip it together. You'll understand why I'm saying that, but I'll add it now. Sew this shoulder strap together here. I guess this is where we see if what I've planned in my mind works in leather. So obviously, you have to sew it inside out. Yeah. Hard to put this on later, isn't it? Let's sew this back together. The zipper, this is going to be the top of the bag, and I want the zipper in that location, and the top will be up here. So I think the reason why I said I wasn't sure if I need this or not is because most of it's going to get cut off. I'm going to start here and clip it. I think it'll make sense in a minute. And yes, right now I'm ignoring that up at the top up there of how I'm going to make that right. I'll show you here in a minute what my thoughts are on it. So what I want to do on the inside is to taper together, and my idea is that when I get up to here, that this is across there. So I have to figure where I want that ending point to be. I don't know how to describe what I'm doing here, but I'm trying to taper it down so that above the zipper it won't have gusset. I think it won't lay right if I have gusset up there. I think to make this work, I need to make a huge mistake, or this is the right way. I need to cut some of this away. It's in my way of clipping. Someone's probably saying stop, but it's a little late. By the time you see this, it's either being used or it's in the trash. Okay, let's clip this together. And I think in some ways it might be easier to just clip one side on the gusset and sew that. And I may have to unclip the one side and do it after I sew it together. But I need to see how this is going to fit together. So that's why I'm plowing ahead here, clipping this all together. And if I don't have to unclip it to sew it, then I'll leave it clipped together. But I think I've just got too much going on here. But I need to see how this is going to, where this gusset's going to end, because it's wild in length as well. Okay, so the bag's going to come together up here, and I guess I just need to pick a spot. It's not arbitrary, but it's, you know, somewhat at my choosing. I think maybe about here. So let me cut that off. Cut off square first. I'm not going to finish it square. I want to sew them together. It may seem arbitrary, but I'm measuring off 5 inches here. So my tape will be 5 inches long. All right, so I think what I'm going to do, now that I have it dry fitted, and I think I like how it looks, I am going to remove one side, and we'll go sew this on here. And I'm just set here for a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and yes, I just eyeballed that. Okay, here's the sewn side, and I've clipped it together. I tried to make sure that I ended up matched up here at the top, and I think I am. So I'm going to start over here and sew around this another time. I think I need to sew this side first. I'd rather sew from this out, but I'm afraid I won't pick that leather up properly. At least the gusset is sewn in very good. So I'm just going to start up here at the top. Yeah, I'm eyeballing 1/4 inch. Get around here, it's going to be a mouthful. I don't know if it'll sew it or not. It says it'll sew up to 7/16. The key word is up to. There's a lot of seam stuff going on here, so let's see if we can push through it. So here's this piece again. How many times can you sew the same thing? Well, I guess we'll find out. Maybe this will be the one. It wasn't long enough. And as some of you leather crafters can understand, I was on time constraints, or I would have just dyed another piece of leather. But I think this is going to work fine anyway. All right, so we're going to turn this right side out. And so this piece here is going to attach over here somewhere. And I could not, in my mind, get it the way I wanted. So on purpose, I left this one out because I wasn't sure about putting it in a seam or having it centered. So I'm going to attach it on the outside of the bag. So that's why this isn't in yet. But we need to turn this bag right side out. We'll get a first look at it here. This neck might be hard to turn right side out. Hopeful that if we take our time, we can get that done. This American Bison, I hope, is tough. I think I was going to make this neck narrower. I may have a challenge as it is. That may not be the answer either. I think it's going to work, but let's hope I don't shove a hole through it here. I think maybe if I had left that end not folded over, and then finished up the last bit by hand, I could probably make this an easier process. Now can I get this through there? I'm gonna sew the sewing machine. I'll be right back. That's the face of it. I was intended to sew it into the seam, but I didn't do it that way because I was concerned about getting the tip on it the correct way and also the location on the curve. So in the end, I thought it might be better like this. And yeah, I could have sewn it into the gusset first, but once again, I wasn't sure where this is going to all line up. So I'm going to attach this with just some fasteners on here. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I'll have to reinforce the inside of this with some vegetable tan leather to make sure that it doesn't pull those fasteners through there. I've got some dry fit work to do, test fit I should say, and I'll be back. Done my dry fit, and I like the length of the straps that I created at the beginning, so I'm going to go with that. And I have the location for my mounting hardware. It's going to be right here. So the next thing I need to do is open this up and get in here and create these holes. And I think the easiest way to do that is to create them on here first, and then I'll mark that leather. Okay, where it goes, visually centered here. You could sew this tab on here as part of making the gusset. A little clear fingernail polish, keep these from backing out. Don't forget the hardware, Robert. These are 3/16 Chicago screws. Okay, it's time for a test fit. I ended up reversing these straps, and I thought about it, and I don't know. I seem to get my mind wrapped around it the wrong way at times. But the buckle needs to go on the downhill side so that this tail hangs freely. Otherwise, it'd be pointing upwards, and I don't think it would work very good that way. Well, here we go with the finished bag. I made a little bit of adjustment off camera there. I went to, I shortened up this side over here so that this hardware was on the downhill side over here. Or the way it worked out, I had it the other way and it wasn't. So if you're following along, this is 35 inches. The long one is 35 inches with a 2-inch fold over on this end. And this side over here is 19 inches with two 2-inch fold overs on it there. So I think it turned out really nice. You know, it's not bad. It's a prototype. I'd never built anything like this before. Had not seen one, you know, no plans, just kind of a wing it on the shape. Something, you know, somewhat organic in nature. I'd probably change a little bit how I did this connection on the next one. And that clip that you saw me install, it's right here. So if you wanted to hang keys on it, or I don't know, maybe a chapstick holder, who knows, hand sanitizer, all the rage nowadays. So I think it turned out pretty good. We'll put some miles on it, and I'll get back with you. I appreciate you taking time to be with me in the shop today. Please like, share, and subscribe, but more importantly, I hope you have a great day.